Imagine being in a room full of people, feeling your chest tightening more and more with each passing moment. The lights seem too bright, the voices too loud, and your thoughts race uncontrollably. This isn't just an uncomfortable moment, it's a reality that millions face every single night as they lay their heads on their pillows, desperate for sleep that refuses to come. Nighttime anxiety has a particular cruelty to attacking when we're most vulnerable, in the quiet darkness when the world sleeps and our minds should be at rest. The silence becomes deafening, and each tick of the clock feels like a reminder that another precious minute of potential sleep has been lost. Your body is exhausted, yet your mind refuses to surrender to slumber. Instead, it replays conversations from decades ago, worries about problems that may never occur, and creates elaborate scenarios of what-ifs that feel overwhelmingly real in those midnight. The physical sensations are unmistakable. Your heart pounds as if you've run a marathon while lying perfectly still. Your muscles tense as if preparing for a threat that exists only in your mind, and your breathing becomes shallow, sometimes making you wonder if you might be dying rather than simply trying to fall asleep. What many don't realize is that this nocturnal suffering isn't just a modern inconvenience. It's a health crisis that affects every aspect of your well-being. Sleep deprivation from anxiety doesn't just leave you tired. It compromises your immune system, increases inflammation throughout your body, affects your cognitive abilities, and over time, can contribute to serious health conditions, including heart disease and depression. The cycle becomes vicious. Anxiety prevents sleep, lack of sleep worsens anxiety, and soon, bedtime itself becomes a trigger for panic. You might find yourself dreading the very place that should provide comfort and restoration. You're not alone in this struggle. The statistics are staggering. Nearly 40% of adults report experiencing heightened anxiety specifically at night, with that number climbing even higher among older adults. While conventional medicine often turns immediately to pharmaceutical solutions, many people seek alternatives that don't involve dependency, side effects, or the foggy morning after feeling that comes with sleep medications. There is wisdom in this search for natural approaches. Throughout human history, long before modern medicine, people found ways to calm the nervous system and promote restful sleep through simple, yet powerful practices. Ancient healing traditions understood something that science is now confirming. Specific points on our bodies connect directly to our nervous system, and when stimulated correctly, can activate our body's natural relaxation response. Tonight, I'll share with you 2 specific pressure points that, when pressed correctly before bedtime, can help break the cycle of nighttime anxiety and restore your natural ability to fall asleep peacefully. These points aren't magical or mystical. They're based on physiological connections in your body that science is increasingly able to explain. What makes them remarkable isn't their complexity, but rather their simplicity and effectiveness. Something so accessible, requiring nothing but your own hands, can profoundly shift your body from a state of distress to one of deep calm. Hello, my dear friend, and thank you so much for joining me today on what might be one of the most important conversations we have about your well-being. I want you to know that I truly appreciate you being here, taking time out of your day to invest in your health and peace of mind. It means more than you might realize that you've chosen to spend these moments with me, seeking solutions for something that can feel so isolating and overwhelming. Before we dive deeper into today's topic, I want to acknowledge something important. If you're struggling with nighttime anxiety, you are showing tremendous courage just by seeking help. Many people suffer in silence for years, believing their nighttime fears are something they simply have to endure. That's simply not true, and your presence here is already a powerful step toward reclaiming your peaceful nights. I also want to create a space where you feel completely understood and accepted. Anxiety isn't a weakness or a character flaw. It's a complex physiological and emotional response that affects millions of people, regardless of their strength, intelligence, or resilience. Some of the most capable, accomplished people I know struggle with their minds racing the moment their head hits the pillow. Your experience is valid, and you deserve genuine support and practical solutions. I've spent many years researching and testing various approaches to anxiety relief, particularly for those nighttime hours when anxiety often intensifies. The method I'm sharing with you today is one I've seen transform sleep patterns and reduce suffering for countless people, including many who thought they had tried everything. While it may seem surprisingly simple, sometimes the most effective solutions aren't complicated or expensive. They're accessible and grounded in how our bodies naturally function. What we're discussing today isn't just another quick fix or temporary band-aid for anxiety symptoms. It's about understanding and working with your body's innate capacity for deep relaxation and restoration. The pressure points we'll explore have been utilized in traditional medicine systems for thousands of years, particularly in traditional Chinese medicine and acupressure practices. These healing traditions recognized long ago what modern science is now confirming. Our bodies have incredible self-regulating mechanisms that can be activated through specific touch. These aren't esoteric or mystical practices. They're based on anatomical realities about how our nervous system responds to particular types of stimulation. When practiced consistently, this approach can help retrain your nervous system, making the transition to sleep smoother and more natural over time. What makes this method particularly valuable is that it empowers you directly. You won't need expensive equipment, ongoing appointments, or prescription. Your hands become the healing tool, and your understanding of these simple techniques becomes knowledge that no one can take away from you. This self-sufficiency in managing anxiety is invaluable. Another important aspect of what we're discussing is that this approach is complementary to other health practices. If you're currently under medical care for anxiety or sleep disorders, these techniques can work alongside that treatment. They're non-invasive and can be integrated into any existing routine. For those who prefer natural approaches, these pressure points offer a method that works with your body's physiology, rather than overriding it with chemical. The effectiveness of these techniques is supported by both centuries of traditional use and emerging scientific research on how pressure point stimulation affects neurotransmitter, reduces muscle tension, and helps regulate heart rate and blood pressure, all crucial elements of the relaxation response needed for quality sleep. Now, let me outline what you'll learn today and how it can transform your nightly experience. First, I'll explain exactly where these two powerful pressure points are located on your body, with clear descriptions so you can find them easily. I'll then guide you through the precise technique for stimulating these points effectively, including the right amount of pressure, duration, and breathing pattern to use while doing so. This isn't just about pressing randomly. The specific technique matters tremendously for activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which controls your body's ability to relax and rest. Next, I'll share the optimal timing for this practice. When you perform these pressure point techniques, matters almost as much as how you do them. I'll explain the ideal window before bedtime to maximize their effectiveness for sleep. We'll also explore how to create a supportive bedtime environment that enhances the effects of the pressure point therapy. The right combination of environment and technique can multiply the benefits significantly. I'll address the most common mistakes people make when trying pressure point therapy for anxiety, so you can avoid pitfalls that might reduce its effectiveness. Understanding what not to do is often as important as knowing what to do. For those who experience particularly intense anxiety, I'll provide modifications and additional supportive techniques that can amplify the benefits of the pressure points. Different bodies and minds sometimes need slightly different approaches, and I want to ensure you have options that work specifically for your situation. You'll learn how to track your progress and what improvements to look for, both in your sleep quality and in your daytime well-being. Recognizing positive changes, even subtle ones, helps reinforce the practice and motivates continued use. I'll explain the science behind why these specific points work so effectively for nighttime anxiety, helping you understand the physiological mechanisms at work when you use them. This understanding can strengthen your trust in the process and your commitment to the practice. Finally, I'll share real experiences from people who have transformed their sleep and reduced their anxiety using these exact techniques, so you can see the practical, real-world applications and benefits. These aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical tools that have helped real people find relief from the exact struggles you might be facing right now. Let's delve deeper into understanding nighttime anxiety and why it can be particularly challenging to manage. When darkness falls and external distractions diminish, our minds often become more active, bringing forward concerns and thoughts that were pushed aside during the busyness of day. This is a normal cognitive process, but for those with anxiety tendencies, it can escalate into overwhelming patterns that make sleep nearly impossible. The biological aspects of nighttime anxiety are fascinating and important to understand. As evening approaches, your body naturally produces melatonin, the hormone that signals sleep. However, anxiety activates your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, which releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are designed to keep you alert and ready for action, directly counteracting the body's natural sleep signal. This creates a physiological tug-of-war in your system that makes relaxation extremely difficult. The psychological component is equally significant. Nighttime often brings a sense of isolation, the feeling that you're alone with your thoughts while the rest of the world sleeps. Without the distractions and social connections of daytime hours, anxious thoughts can seem more intense and more real. Many people describe feeling trapped in negative thought spirals that seem impossible to escape. There's also a powerful feedback loop at work with nighttime anxiety. After several nights of struggling to sleep, you may develop anticipatory anxiety about bedtime itself. Your bedroom, which should be a sanctuary, becomes associated with struggle and discomfort. Your mind begins to expect difficulty as soon as you enter the sleep environment, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of another restless night. The physical sensations of anxiety further complicate sleep initiation. Muscle tension, particularly in the neck, shoulders, and jaw, creates physical discomfort that makes relaxation difficult. Elevated heart rate and breathing changes keep the body physiologically aroused. Digestive disturbances, another common anxiety symptom, can add physical discomfort to mental distress. Beyond the immediate discomfort, chronic nighttime anxiety creates serious health risks through ongoing sleep deprivation. Without sufficient quality sleep, your body struggles to perform essential maintenance functions, including immune system regulation, cellular repair, memory consolidation, and emotional processing. Over time, this sleep deficit contributes to increased inflammation, impaired cognitive function, weakened immunity, and even structural changes in the brain. The traditional medical approach often relies heavily on sleep medications, which may provide temporary relief, but frequently create new problems. Many sleep medications alter natural sleep architecture, reducing time spent in crucial deep sleep and REM cycle. Dependency concerns, daytime grogginess, and reduced effectiveness over time make many prescription sleep aids problematic for long-term use. This is why interest in natural approaches like pressure point therapy has grown significantly in recent years. These methods work with your body's existing regulatory systems rather than overriding them, potentially offering more sustainable relief without the side effects or dependencies associated with pharmaceutical approaches. The specific pressure points we'll discuss today have direct connections to your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system that counteracts the stress response. By stimulating these points correctly, you can help shift your body out of fight-or-flight mode and into a state conducive to natural, restorative sleep. I need to pause here and ask you something important. What time of day does anxiety usually hit you the hardest? You know, each person feels anxiety uniquely, and sharing this experience can be the first step to understanding it better. I know you may have never talked about this with anyone before. Maybe you think no one would understand, or that your feelings aren't important enough, but I want you to know that here, in this space, your experience matters deeply. Leave us a comment below completing the sentence. My anxiety usually appears when your courage in sharing might be exactly what another person needs to read today to feel less alone. And in upcoming videos, we'll address specifically those moments you share. This is a community of mutual support, where every word of yours is welcomed with respect and understanding. I've noticed in my years of working with anxiety that recognizing patterns in when and how anxiety manifests is often the first step toward addressing it effectively. Some people experience anxiety primarily during social interactions, while others feel it most intensely in quiet, solitary. Some struggle most in the morning as they anticipate the day ahead, while others find evenings particularly challenging as the day's events replay in them. Your specific pattern matters tremendously in finding the right approach for you. By sharing your experience in the comments, not only do you help yourself by articulating and acknowledging your pattern, but you also contribute to our collective understanding of anxiety's many expressions. Your comment might be the moment another viewer realizes they're not alone in their specific type of anxiety experience. That connection is invaluable and can be the beginning of healing for someone who has felt isolated in their struggles. I read every comment, and your insights help shape the content I create to better serve this community. So please, take a moment right now to share when anxiety tends to visit you most powerfully. Your voice matters here, and your experience deserves to be acknowledged. Now, let me guide you through the specific pressure points that can transform your experience of nighttime anxiety, along with detailed instructions for using them effectively. The first point we'll focus on is called the inner frontier gate, or pericardium 6, P6. This remarkable point is located on your inner wrist, about 3 finger widths up from the crease where your hand meets your wrist. Centered between the two tendons you can see when you flex your wrist slightly. This point has been used for thousands of years to calm the spirit and settle the mind, making it particularly valuable for anxiety that manifests with heart palpitations, chest tightness, or racing thoughts. To stimulate this point effectively, place the thumb of your opposite hand directly on the point and apply firm, steady pressure. The sensation should be strong but not painful. You're aiming for that sweet spot where you feel a distinct sensation that might include slight achiness or tingling. While maintaining pressure, make small circular movements with your thumb, breathing deeply and slowly. Continue this for 2 to 3 minutes on each wrist, ideally while sitting comfortably with your eyes closed, focusing on the sensation and your breath. The second critical point is called spirit gate, or heart 7, H7. This point is located on the outer edge of your wrist crease, in the small depression just below the pisiform bone, the small P-shaped bone at the base of your palm on the pinky side. This point has a direct connection to calming the mind and heart in traditional medicine systems, and is especially helpful for anxiety that disrupts sleep. To activate spirit gate properly, use your thumb or index finger to apply firm pressure to the point while breathing slowly and deeply. As with the first point, The pressure should be significant enough to feel a mild aching or warming sensation, but never sharp pain. Maintain steady pressure for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes on each wrist, breathing rhythmically throughout. For maximum benefit, stimulate these points in sequence, beginning with inner frontier gate, followed by spirit gate, approximately 30 minutes before your intended bedtime. This timing allows your nervous system to respond fully to the technique before you attempt to sleep. The breathing pattern you use during this practice significantly enhances its effectiveness. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4, hold briefly, then exhale through your mouth for a count of 6, making your exhale slightly longer than your inhale. This extended exhale activates the vagus nerve, further enhancing the relaxation response. For those with particularly stubborn anxiety, combining these pressure points with gentle, rhythmic rocking can amplify the calming effect. While seated comfortably, apply the pressure point technique while gently rocking forward and backward at a slow, soothing pace. This movement pattern has been shown to activate additional calming mechanisms in the brain. Consistency is crucial with this approach. While you may experience immediate relief the first time you try these techniques, the most profound benefits come with regular, nightly practice. This consistency helps retrain your nervous system, making it progressively easier to transition from an anxious state to a relaxed one. Over time, your body learns to associate these pressure points with the relaxation response, enhancing their effectiveness. If you find it difficult to locate or stimulate these points on your own, there are acupressure wristbands available that apply continuous gentle pressure to the inner frontier gate point. While not quite as effective as the manual technique with proper breathing, these can be helpful supplements, particularly for those with arthritis or limited hand dexterity. For enhanced results, consider creating an environment that supports the effectiveness of the pressure point therapy. Dim lighting signals to your brain that it's time to wind down, activating natural melatonin production. Eliminating blue light from screens at least an hour before bed prevents disruption of your sleep hormone. A slightly cool room temperature has been shown to facilitate easier sleep initiation. Gentle white noise can help mask disruptive sounds and create a consistent audio environment that soothes the nervous system. A few drops of lavender essential oil on your pillow can enhance the calming effect, as research has shown lavender's genuine impact on reducing anxiety levels and improving sleep quality. Combining these environmental factors with the pressure point technique creates a powerful synergy for overcoming even severe nighttime anxiety. For those nights when anxiety feels overwhelming despite using the pressure points, adding progressive muscle relaxation can provide additional relief. Starting at your feet and moving upward, tense each muscle group for 5 seconds, then release completely for 10 seconds, noticing the difference between tension and relaxation. This practice not only releases physical tension, but also redirects attention away from anxious thoughts. If racing thoughts persist, pairing the pressure point technique with a simple mindfulness practice can be effective. While applying pressure to the points, focus completely on physical sensations, the feeling of pressure, any warmth or tingling, and your breathing pattern. When thoughts arise, acknowledge them without judgment, and gently return focus to physical sensations. This combination of physical and mental techniques addresses anxiety from multiple angles simultaneously. The specific pressure points we've discussed work through several fascinating physiological mechanisms that explain their effectiveness for nighttime anxiety. Understanding these mechanisms can deepen your appreciation for this approach and strengthen your commitment to the practice. The inner frontier gate point, P6, has been shown in research studies to stimulate vagal tone, the activity of your vagus nerve, which is the primary nerve of your parasympathetic, rest and digest, nervous system. When this point is stimulated correctly, it sends signals that help downregulate your sympathetic, fight-or-flight response and activate parasympathetic functions instead. This vagal stimulation has measurable effects, including slowing heart rate, deepening breathing, reducing blood pressure, and decreasing cortisol level, all physiological changes needed for quality sleep. Additionally, research using functional MRI has shown that stimulating this point affects activity in the limbic system of the brain, the area involved in emotional processing. Specifically, it appears to modulate activity in the amygdala, which governs fear responses, and increase activity in the prefrontal cortex, which handles rational thought and emotional regulation. These brain changes help explain why pressure at this point can calm racing thoughts and emotional distress. The spirit gate point, H7, appears to work through slightly different but complementary mechanisms. Traditional medicine systems have long associated this point with heart function and emotional balance. Modern research suggests stimulation here may affect levels of neurotransmitters including serotonin and GABA, both crucial for mood regulation and sleep. Studies using electroencephalography, EEG, have shown that prolonged stimulation of H7 increases alpha wave activity in the brain, the brainwave pattern associated with relaxed wakefulness that precedes sleep. This helps create the mental conditions necessary for sleep initiation. Beyond these specific mechanisms, both points benefit from the power of directed touch itself. Mindful, intentional touch activates receptors in the skin that respond to pressure by releasing oxytocin and endorphin, natural compounds that promote feelings of safety and well-being, while reducing pain and distress. This explains why the pressure point technique often creates an immediate sense of comfort, even as the deeper regulatory effects are still developing. What truly makes this approach remarkable is that it addresses both the immediate symptoms of anxiety and its underlying patterns over time. With consistent practice, you're not just temporarily relieving anxiety each night. You're actually retraining your nervous system to maintain better balance between stress and relaxation responses. This neuroplastic change can gradually reduce your baseline anxiety level, making you more resilient to stress throughout the day, as well as at night. The research support for pressure point therapy continues to grow, with studies showing significant improvements in sleep latency, how quickly people fall asleep, sleep duration, and subjective sleep quality when these techniques are applied consistently. Participants in these studies typically report reduced nighttime anxiety after just 1 week of practice, with improvements continuing to build over the first month. One particularly interesting finding from recent research is that these pressure points may help regulate melatonin production and cortisol rhythm, the hormones that govern your sleep-wake cycle. When these hormones are properly balanced, your body receives clear signals about when to sleep and when to wake, making both processes more natural and efficient. Unlike many conventional treatments that lose effectiveness over time as the body develops tolerance, pressure point therapy often becomes more effective with continued practice. This is because you're working with your body's natural regulatory systems rather than overriding them, allowing these systems to strengthen and become more efficient through repeated activation. This self-reinforcing aspect makes pressure point therapy particularly valuable as a long-term strategy for managing chronic anxiety and sleep difficulty. The most compelling evidence for this approach, however, comes from the countless individuals who have transformed their relationship with sleep and anxiety through these simple yet powerful techniques. From professionals with high-stress careers to older adults dealing with age-related sleep changes, people across all demographics have found significant relief through consistent application of these pressure point methods. Let me share with you the remarkable story of Eleanor, a 67-year-old retired teacher who had struggled with insomnia, driven by anxiety for over 2 decades. After her husband passed away, her sleep difficulties intensified to the point where she was sleeping only 2-3 fragmented hours per night, despite trying numerous medications and supplements. Her anxiety would peak precisely as she laid down to sleep, with physical symptoms including rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing, and a sensation she described as electricity running through my veins. After learning the pressure point technique we've discussed today, Eleanor committed to practicing it nightly for 1 month. The first night she noticed no difference, but continued faithfully. By the end of the first week, she found herself falling asleep within 40 minutes instead of her usual 3 hours. By the end of the second week, she was consistently falling asleep within 20 minutes and staying asleep for longer periods. After a full month, Eleanor was sleeping 6 to 7 hours most nights, with significantly reduced anxiety at bedtime. What struck Eleanor most was not just the improved sleep, but how the benefits extended into her daytime hours. Her general anxiety level decreased, her energy improved, and she found herself engaging more fully in social activities she had previously avoided due to fatigue and anxiety. Eleanor's experience highlights an important aspect of this approach. Patience and consistency are essential. The benefits build gradually for most people, though the timeline varies based on individual factors including how long the anxiety patterns have been established and the person's overall health status. Another illuminating case involves Michael, a 52-year-old business executive whose nighttime anxiety manifested primarily as rumination over work decision conversations. His mind would race uncontrollably as soon as he tried to sleep, reviewing the day's events and catastrophizing about potential future problems. This pattern had persisted for years, resistant to both cognitive behavioral therapy and medication. Michael was initially skeptical about pressure point, but desperate enough to try it consistently. His experience differed from Eleanor's in that he noticed immediate relief the very first night, a significant reduction in thought racing that allowed him to fall asleep within 30 minutes, a dramatic improvement from his usual 2+ hours. For Michael, the technique became most powerful when combined with the environmental modifications we discussed earlier, particularly eliminating screen time before bed and creating a consistent sleep routine that included the pressure point practice. These experiences and countless others demonstrate the real-world effectiveness of this approach for people with diverse manifestations of nighttime anxiety. While individual responses vary, the underlying mechanisms are consistent. These specific pressure points help shift your body from stress response to relaxation response, creating the physiological conditions necessary for natural sleep. This brings us to an important advantage of the pressure point approach over conventional treatments: its remarkable safety profile. The side effects associated with many sleep medications, including dependency, daytime drowsiness, cognitive impairment, and even increased risk of falls in older adults, are completely absent with pressure point therapy. The only caution relates to the amount of pressure applied. It should be firm, but never painful, as excessive pressure could potentially cause temporary soreness. Even for those currently using sleep medication, pressure point therapy can be a valuable complementary approach. Many people find that consistent use of these techniques allows them to gradually reduce their medication dosage under medical supervision, though this should always be done in consultation with healthcare providers. For pregnant women experiencing the sleep difficulties common during pregnancy, these pressure points are generally considered safe, though pregnant women should consult with their healthcare providers before beginning any new health practice. The inner frontier gate point in particular has been extensively studied for morning sickness in pregnancy, and found to be both safe and effective. For older adults, who often experience more fragmented sleep and higher rates of anxiety, these pressure point techniques can be especially beneficial. The technique can be adapted for those with arthritis or limited hand strength by using a pencil eraser or similar soft, rounded object to apply pressure, making this approach accessible regardless of age or physical limitations. If you identified with what we talked about today, and you're looking for natural ways to calm your mind and live with more peace, our channel is a safe space created especially for you. Each week we share simple and effective techniques that have helped thousands of people recover their inner peace. We're together on this journey, and every step you take toward wellness matters. Click the subscribe button below and activate notifications to receive our videos as soon as they're published. Remember, you don't need to face anxiety alone, and small changes can make a big difference in your quality of life. Our approach is always practical, compassionate, and based on both traditional wisdom and modern research. We understand that anxiety isn't just a psychological experience, it's a whole-body condition that requires whole-person solution. That's why we focus on techniques that address both the mind and body simultaneously, like the pressure points we've explored today. In addition to techniques for managing anxiety, our channel covers topics including natural approaches to improving sleep quality, mindfulness practices that fit into busy lives, gentle movement routines that release physical tension, nutritional strategies that support emotional balance, and communication tools for explaining your anxiety to loved ones. We also regularly feature interviews with both experts in the field and ordinary people who have found their way through anxiety to greater peace, providing diverse perspectives and approaches you can adapt to your unique situation. One of the most valuable aspects of subscribing to this channel is becoming part of our supportive community. Through comments and discussions, you'll connect with others who truly understand the challenges of living with anxiety. Many subscribers have formed meaningful friendships and support networks through these interactions, finding strength in shared experiences and mutual encouragement. You'll never be pressured to purchase anything on this channel. While we occasionally recommend resources we genuinely believe in, our primary goal is providing free, accessible support to anyone struggling with anxiety. The simple act of subscribing helps us reach more people who need this information, creating a positive ripple effect that extends far beyond your own experience. As we come to the end of today's discussion, I want to emphasize how truly transformative consistent practice of these pressure point techniques can be for your sleep, your anxiety levels, and ultimately, your quality of life. The 2 points we've explored today, inner frontier gate and spirit gate, offer a direct pathway to activating your body's natural relaxation response, creating the conditions necessary for restful sleep. Remember that consistency is key with this approach. While some people experience immediate relief, for most, the benefits build gradually as the nervous system learns new patterns. Commit to practicing these techniques nightly for at least 3 weeks to fully experience their potential. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity and accessibility. No special equipment is needed, no prescription required, no ongoing costs, just your own hands and a few minutes each night before bed. This self-sufficiency is empowering, giving you a reliable tool you can use anywhere, anytime anxiety strikes. If you found value in today's video, please help us spread this information to others who might be suffering from nighttime anxiety. A simple like or share could connect someone in need with information that might significantly improve their quality of life. Your engagement also helps our channel reach more people with these natural approaches to anxiety management. The comments section below this video is a wonderful place to share your experience if you try these techniques. Your feedback not only helps me create better content, but also provides encouragement and guidance to others in our community who may be hesitant to try new approaches. If you have questions about implementing these techniques or need clarification on any points, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments. I make a point of responding to as many questions as possible, and our community members often share valuable insights as well. I want to leave you with a simple but powerful truth. Peaceful sleep is your birthright. Despite how long you may have struggled with nighttime anxiety, your nervous system retains its innate capacity for deep relaxation and restful sleep. These pressure point techniques simply help you reconnect with that natural capacity, clearing the path for your body's wisdom to express itself. As you incorporate these practices into your nightly routine, pay attention to subtle improvements. Not just in how quickly you fall asleep or how long you stay asleep, but also in how you feel upon waking and throughout your day. Notice any changes in your energy level, emotional resilience, cognitive clarity, and overall sense of well-being. These broader improvements often signal that the pressure point therapy is working on a deeper level, rebalancing your entire nervous system, rather than just temporarily relieving symptoms. Be patient and compassionate with yourself throughout this process. Healing patterns of anxiety that may have been established over years or decades takes time. Celebrate small improvements rather than expecting immediate perfection. And remember that even nights when the techniques seem less effective are still contributing to the retraining of your nervous system. Thank you for your attention today and for your commitment. Until next time, may your nights be peaceful, your sleep restorative, and your days bright with the energy and clarity that come from truly restful sleep. I believe in your capacity to, and I'm honored to walk this path alongside you, offering support and guidance as you reclaim your natural right to tranquil, rejuvenating sleep.